There is a power inside you that most people never discover. The power to stay calm when the world tries to shake you. The strength to remain steady when chaos surrounds you. Imagine living in such a way that no insult, no rejection, and no negativity could break your peace. That inner shield exists within you, waiting to be built. And once you master it, you will realize that your greatest strength has never been about controlling others. It has always been about controlling yourself. Every emotion you feel is a reflection of the choices you make in response to life's events. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or tries to provoke you, their words are like sparks. They cannot burn you unless you hand them the fuel. Too often, we forget this truth. We let the smallest remarks steal our entire day, allowing others to dictate our inner state. But the reality is simple. Nobody has the power to control your emotions unless you give them permission. This is where true strength lies. Not in shouting the loudest or reacting the quickest, but in choosing calm when everything inside you wants to explode. The person who remains unshaken in the middle of provocation holds a power most people never reach. It is not weakness to walk away, it is wisdom. It is not silence that shows defeat, it is silence that shows mastery. Because the moment you stop reacting, you reclaim your peace. And peace is the highest form of freedom you will ever know. Think of anger as fire. The instant you allow it to ignite, it consumes you first before it ever touches another person. Your heart races, your blood pressure rises, your thoughts become clouded, and your judgment weakens. In that moment, you are no longer in control. Your emotions are. How many times have you said words you wished you could take back? How many opportunities have slipped away because anger pushed you to act without thinking? The truth is, anger punishes you long before it touches anyone else. But calmness saves you. When you can step back, breathe, and let the spark die instead of feeding it, you walk away unburned, unharmed, and still in possession of your clarity. That is why controlling your reaction is not simply about peace. It is about survival. It is about protecting your health, your relationships, your future. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you invest in your own growth. Most people believe that peace comes from changing others. If they stop being rude, I won't be angry. If they stop criticizing me, I'll feel confident. If they stop hurting me, I'll feel safe. But life doesn't work that way. You cannot control the mouths of others. You cannot rewrite their behavior. And you cannot live in a world where everyone respects your emotions. Waiting for others to change is a losing game. Real strength begins the moment you stop trying to control the outside and start mastering the inside. You hold the authority to decide what deserves your energy. You decide if an insult deserves your attention. You decide whether someone's disrespect defines you. And you decide whether to hand over your peace or keep it. The irony is that people who try to provoke you thrive on your reaction. The moment you explode, they know they've succeeded. But when you remain calm, when you refuse to play their game, you strip them of all power. Imagine two people hearing the same insult. The first explodes in rage, ready to fight, ready to argue, burning bridges in the process. The second simply smiles, shakes their head, and walks away. The words did not change, the insult did not soften. What changed was the reaction. One person gave away control, the other stayed free. This simple example reveals a truth we often ignore. It is never the situation that breaks you. It is your interpretation of it. And if it is interpretation, then the power is always in your hands. You are not forced to react. You are not obligated to play along. You can pause, you can breathe, you can choose silence. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. People expect anger, they expect shouting, they expect chaos. But when you stand steady, when you stay calm, you rise above the storm. In that moment, you separate yourself from the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. To control your reaction does not mean suppressing your emotions. Suppression is pretending anger doesn't exist while it eats you alive from within. Control, on the other hand, is awareness without surrender. It is acknowledging the rising wave of emotion but refusing to let it carry you away. It is the discipline of saying, Yes, I feel this, but I will not let it define me. This is the art of mastery, and mastery is not built overnight. It is built in small moments. Every time you catch yourself before an outburst, every time you pause instead of exploding, every time you walk away instead of fighting, you strengthen your inner shield. At first, it may feel difficult, but slowly it becomes natural. You begin to notice that the things that once shattered your peace no longer touch you. The words that once pierced your heart now sound like noise. This is the beginning of true freedom, the freedom to live unbothered. The journey towards self-mastery always begins with awareness. Most people only realize they are angry after they have already shouted, argued, or reacted in ways they regret. But with practice, you can train yourself to notice anger at its birth. You can feel the first spark before it becomes a flame. And in that small moment, you have a choice. That pause is where your freedom lies. It is the space between being a slave to your emotions and being the master of them. In that pause, you can take a deep breath, reflect, or even walk away. That pause separates impulsive reactions from intentional responses. And every time you create that space, you take back power over your life. The greatest leaders, the most respected individuals in history, were not those who lost their temper quickly. They were the ones who stayed calm in chaos, steady in conflict, and unshaken when everything around them was falling apart. Calmness was their secret weapon. Think about anger as a thief. It steals your time, your energy, your focus, and even your health. Every moment you spend replaying arguments, every night you lose sleep over someone's words, every ounce of energy you waste on grudges, it is all stolen life. Anger pretends to make you strong, but it secretly drains you. On the other hand, calmness fuels you. Calmness sharpens your vision. Calmness preserves your energy for what truly matters, your growth, your goals, your dreams. When you refuse to let anger dictate your actions, you suddenly find more space for creativity, more space for love, more space for discipline. This is why the ability to remain unbothered is one of the greatest strengths a human being can develop. When people cannot control your mood, they cannot control your destiny. And when you no longer waste energy on meaningless battles, you can finally build the life you deserve. Many people think reacting quickly is a sign of dominance. They believe shouting louder, striking back harder, or arguing faster makes them powerful. But quick reactions are not strength. They are weakness exposed. They reveal that anyone can control you by pressing the right button. Real dominance is calmness. True authority is being unshaken. The person who cannot be provoked is the person who truly holds power. Imagine being so calm that no insult can penetrate, no rejection can shake you, no disrespect can rob you of your peace. That kind of control is rare, and that is why it commands respect. People notice when you stay composed in situations that would break others. They wonder how you do it, why you are different, and deep down they admire it. Calmness is not passive, it is active strength. It is proof that you are in control of yourself, and therefore nothing outside can control you. Consider a simple example: traffic. Someone cuts you off, and instantly your heart races with anger. You want to honk, to shout, maybe even to chase them. But what does that reaction bring? More stress, more risk, more wasted energy. You ruin your own mood because of a stranger you will never see again. That person drives away unaffected, while you carry the poison of anger for hours. Now imagine responding differently. The same driver cuts you off, but this time you take a deep breath, let it go, and keep moving. Within seconds, it's over. You preserved your peace, your energy, and your focus. The difference is not in the event, it is in your reaction. Life works the same way. You cannot control what happens around you, but you can always control what happens within you. That is the ultimate secret to strength. Building inner strength is like building a fortress. Most people live like open doors, allowing every insult, every criticism, and every disappointment to walk in and take residence in their minds. A single negative word can haunt them for days. A small rejection can convince them they are unworthy. But life demands that you build walls, not of arrogance, but of self-belief. When you build that fortress within, you become untouchable. People may throw stones, but none will strike where it truly matters. Every insult, every negative comment, every attempt to pull you down says more about the person delivering it than the one receiving it. If someone is filled with bitterness, they will spill bitterness. If they are insecure, they will try to drag others down. But none of that belongs to you unless you accept it. Your shield begins the moment you refuse to take ownership of someone else's poison. The greatest mistake people make is personalizing everything. Someone criticizes us, and we believe it must be true. A stranger disrespects us, and we let it define our worth. A friend betrays us, and we allow it to poison our trust forever. But not everything that is thrown at you is meant for you. Most of the negativity people project is simply a reflection of their own pain, their own insecurity, their own frustration. When you understand this, you begin to detach. You realize that someone else's bitterness is not your burden. Their words, their actions, their judgments, they belong to them, not you. This realization is the foundation of emotional freedom. When you stop absorbing every arrow that is fired your way, you stop bleeding unnecessarily. You learn to let negativity bounce off your shield instead of piercing your heart. Detachment is not coldness. Detachment is clarity. Perspective is another powerful weapon in building your inner shield. Ask yourself whenever something bothers you, will this matter in 5 years? Will this even matter in 5 months? Most of the time the answer is no. Yet we allow small moments of disrespect, criticism, or rejection to dominate our minds for far longer than they deserve. Perspective reminds you that most arrows are too small to even notice. Why let a passing insult destroy an entire day? Why let one negative comment weigh heavier than years of progress? The truth is, many battles are not worth fighting, not because you are weak, but because your energy is far too valuable to waste. When you adopt perspective, you stop magnifying the trivial and start focusing on what truly matters. This is how you grow stronger, not by reacting to every shadow, but by conserving your strength for what builds your future. Another layer of strength comes from compassion. When you realize that people who hurt others are usually carrying hidden pain, you stop taking their behavior personally. The angry person is often battling their own disappointments. The jealous person is often drowning in insecurity. The cruel person is usually covering wounds you cannot see. Their attack is less about you and more about them. When you understand this, your anger softens into compassion. You begin to see their actions not as daggers aimed at your heart, but as cries for help from someone lost within themselves. Compassion does not mean tolerating abuse or staying in toxic environments. It means choosing not to poison yourself with unnecessary hatred. It means seeing beyond the surface, recognizing that negativity is rarely about you, and refusing to let it steal your peace. Compassion disarms anger and keeps your heart light. Detachment and compassion must be supported by discipline. The mind, like a muscle, must be trained. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen that muscle. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you add another layer to your shield. Every time you walk away from a meaningless battle, you polish your armor. Discipline is not built overnight. It is built with consistency, choice by choice, moment by moment. And one day, you will look back and realize that the things that once shattered you now barely touch you. The words that once cut deep now sound like whispers. The situations that once ruined your mood now pass by like clouds in the sky. That is the reward of discipline. You become resilient. You become unshakable. And when the storms of life come, and they always will, you will stand firm while others fall. To transform anger into power, you must also learn the art of transmutation. Anger itself is not evil. It is energy, raw, fiery, and intense. The problem is not the energy. The problem is how you use it. Most people waste it on shouting, arguing, and burning bridges. But if you redirect it, that same energy can fuel growth. Think of anger as fire. Fire in the wrong place destroys. Fire in the right place cooks, warms, and gives light. The same flame that can burn your house down can also keep you alive. In the same way, anger can destroy relationships, or it can be transformed into fuel for discipline, progress, and achievement. Instead of reacting outward, channel the fire inward. Use it to work harder, to sharpen your focus, to prove your worth through excellence rather than arguments. When you master this, anger stops being your enemy and becomes your ally. When you feel anger rising, the first step is to pause. This pause is the bridge between destruction and transformation. Without it, your emotions will always lead the way. In that instant of pausing, you break the chain of impulse. You give yourself the chance to ask, what is this moment teaching me? How can I use this energy to grow instead of destroy? That question alone changes everything. The same energy that could have fueled an argument can instead fuel your focus. The same energy that could have broken trust can instead build discipline. Anger wants you to act fast, but wisdom asks you to act slow. In that pause, you choose whether the fire burns you or strengthens you. Every pause is a moment of power. Every pause is proof that you are in control. And the more often you practice it, the easier it becomes. Reframing is the next step in transformation. Instead of saying, "This made me angry," learn to say, "This revealed where I need to grow." Anger is often a mirror. If criticism makes you furious, perhaps it touches an insecurity within you. If disrespect crushes you, perhaps it exposes doubts about your worth. If rejection devastates you, perhaps you've tied your identity too tightly to outcomes. Sin this way, anger is not your enemy. Anger is your teacher. It points to wounds that need healing, strengths that need building, fears that need confronting. When you reframe anger as a signal instead of a curse, you stop fighting against it and start learning from it. Suddenly, every moment of frustration becomes an opportunity for growth. What once dragged you down now lifts you higher. You no longer waste energy asking, "Why me?" Instead, you begin to ask, "What is this showing me?" Transmutation goes beyond reframing. It is about turning raw emotion into purposeful action. Think of great inventors, activists, and leaders throughout history. Many of their breakthroughs were fueled by anger. Anger at injustice, anger at being underestimated, anger at failure. But they did not waste their fire screaming into the void. They turned it into fuel for change. The same energy that could have destroyed them was redirected to build legacies. You have the same choice. When anger rises, you can channel it into your work, your goals, your discipline. Instead of wasting it on arguments, use it to sharpen your skills. Instead of holding grudges, use it to strengthen your resolve. Instead of staying bitter, use it to get better. Anger is fire, and fire in the right hands can move mountains. The key is to stop letting it control you and start learning how to direct it. Think of how many people carry anger for years, holding grudges against those who have long forgotten about them. They replay arguments in their heads, poisoning themselves daily with memories of the past. This is wasted life. Carrying anger is like dragging heavy rocks everywhere you go. Each rock weighs you down, slows your progress, and steals your joy. But when you let go, you feel lighter. When you transform that energy into growth, you move faster. Releasing anger is not about letting others win. It is about refusing to let their actions imprison you. Forgiveness, too, is less about others and more about you. It is about choosing freedom over bitterness, peace over poison, strength over scars. The sooner you release the rocks, the sooner you can climb the mountain of your own potential. Anger is heavy. Calmness makes you free. Calmness does not mean weakness. It does not mean allowing others to walk over you. It means being selective with your battles. It means recognizing that your energy is too precious to be wasted on meaningless fights. Calmness is not avoidance. It is strategy. The calm warrior fights only when necessary, and because of that, their strength lasts longer. When you are calm, you can see solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles, lessons instead of insults. Calmness sharpens your vision where anger clouds it. Calmness allows you to think, to adapt, to win. The person who stays calm is not ignoring reality. They are mastering it. Calmness is not surrender, it is control. It is the ability to stand steady in the middle of chaos and still move forward. And that is why calmness, not anger, is the ultimate form of power. Vision is a powerful antidote to anger. When you have a clear purpose guiding your life, small provocations lose their grip on you. Why waste your energy shouting at shadows when you are climbing a mountain? Why waste time holding grudges when your future demands all of your focus? People who lack direction are easily distracted by every insult, every rejection, every disappointment. But when you know where you are going, you cannot afford to stop and fight every meaningless battle along the way. Vision makes you selective with your energy. It forces you to ask, does this reaction take me closer to my goal or further away? If it leads you further away, you let it go. When your purpose is greater than your pain, you stop being reactive and start being unstoppable. Anger weakens you, but vision strengthens you. Some of the most successful people in history were fueled by rejection, doubt, and failure. Instead of letting anger consume them, they transformed it into resilience. They didn't waste energy trying to change other people's opinions. They used that energy to change their own reality. They understood that revenge through anger is temporary, but revenge through success is permanent. Every insult became motivation. Every rejection became fuel. Every failure became a stepping stone. And because of this, they built legacies instead of regrets. You too carry this same power. Life will always present reasons to be angry. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will frustrate you. Failure will knock on your door again and again. But the choice remains yours. Will you let the fire burn you? Or will you let it forge you? That decision determines the kind of life you build. Anger tries to convince you that reacting will bring relief, but in truth, it only deepens the wound. Calmness, on the other hand, opens doors to wisdom. When you are calm, you think clearly, you see opportunities, you recognize lessons. Anger blinds, but calmness illuminates. This is why your reaction is your greatest power. Your reaction shapes how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. The one who explodes easily is seen as unstable, untrustworthy, and weak. The one who stays calm under pressure is seen as strong, dependable, and wise. Your reaction becomes your signature, the silent message you send to everyone around you. Do you want to be known as someone who can be controlled by a single word, or someone who stands unshaken no matter what? That choice is always in your hands. Mastering your reaction is not an easy path. There will be days when you slip, when anger wins, when irritation gets the better of you. But every time you succeed, even in the smallest way, you are training your mind for greatness. Over time, your shield grows stronger. You begin to notice that the insults that once pierced you now sound like echoes. The rejections that once crushed you now feel like redirections. The disappointments that once broke you now become lessons. This is freedom, not freedom from challenges, but freedom from being controlled by them. The storms will not stop, but within you, there will be unshakable peace. That peace is rare. That peace is powerful. And once you experience it, you will never want to live without it again. Life will always test your peace. People will provoke you, circumstances will frustrate you, and failures will appear when you least expect them. But you must remember this truth. No one can disturb your peace without your permission. Every time you get angry, you lose energy. Every time you stay calm, you gain power. Anger is wasted life, calmness is preserved strength. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over the world. It is over yourself. When you master your reaction, you master your destiny. You become untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. And in that state, you will discover the kind of happiness that cannot be taken away, because it is rooted in self-control. If this message inspired you, make sure to like this video and visit our channel for more powerful and uplifting content.